Hi everyone. Hi everyone. My name is Neeta Sharma. I'm the principal of Masuri International
Hi
School.
everyone.
I'm going to be talking to you today about how to
Hi everyone. My
emotionally.
name is Neeta Sharma. I'm the principal of Masuri International. Hi everyone.
I'm going to be talking to you today about how to
Hi everyone. My
emotionally.
name is Neeta Sharma. I'm the principal of Masuri International. Hi everyone.
I'm going to be talking to you today about how to
Hi everyone. My name is Neeta Sharma. I'm the principal of Masuri International.
I think there was some echo. Let me start again. My name is Neeta Sharma, and I'm the principal of Masuri International School. Today, I shall be talking to you about the social and the emotional transition from a high school to a college or a university living, which essentially translates into shifting from being a big fish in a small pond to a small fish in a big ocean. Moving from high school into the realms of higher education can be intimidating. There's a lifestyle change away from parents and guardians, an increased workload from harder courses, and lots of tough decisions that one has to make at every turn. Moving is a stressful experience for anyone, and for that matter, each fall, more than 20 million families send their children off to college, taking the leap into the new unknown environment and likely to face new routines, new attitudes, new perspectives, and new stresses. Young adults can be especially susceptible to feeling nervous and at times inadequate during the transition. It is not uncommon for college bound kids who are high achievers and self confident in high school to lose their confidence, to doubt their ability to succeed, and to even question their likability once they get used to college. Some anxiety or self doubt is normal. For students who are unprepared, adjusting can be actually very, very tough and unsettling. At college, the stress of being away from home may create a false belief that they are inadequate and unable to succeed. Irrational beliefs can easily render any person vulnerable to anxiety and depression or lead to even destructive coping behaviors. If your child is transitioning into higher education this year, here's how you can help them along the emotional journey, no matter what chapter they are in. And you can help them take care of themselves, of the fear and anxiety, of the sadness and loneliness, of the stress or a sense of being overwhelmed, and also help them utilize the additional resources. Now, ladies and gentlemen, according to the Purdue Global, 45% of college students say that they experience more than average stress every year, at university. With such high levels of stress come pretty dangerous effects, including upset stomachs, exhaustion, depression, um, unhealthy outlets. People turn to unhealthy outlets as cures. Some people even end up getting into alcohol. I'm not scaring anyone, tobacco or drugs. A few of these activities that I'm going to be suggesting and certain points that I'm going to be stressing upon will help your child when the child heads from school to college to stay calm and happy and keep clear headed, not get overwhelmed, and do as well as we desire and we expect them to do. The key actually is to live in the present moment and soak it all happening while it is happening to them. Now, let me just enumerate certain things that must be kept in mind and that must be discussed with the child before the child leaves the school for college or for the university for that matter. Now, these are to be done by the school as well as by the parental community. So, let me just begin with this. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure that the expectations of your children are realistic so that the challenges and associated feelings of self doubt they will certainly experience during this new stage are understood. And these feelings are understood as being normal and expected. If your child didn't apply much effort in high school to succeed, alert your child to what is coming his way or her way. New and more difficult academic demands that can leave these new freshmen in college feeling discouraged and defeated. Your son and daughter may falsely conclude that she's not smart enough and the effort would be futile. So, as parents, as school, it is the onus is on us to ensure that we prepare our children for a realistic challenge and to meet deadlines at the university or at college. Schools are generally very, very protective and they give n number of reminders to help out the children, the minors who are still in school, but the colleges may not be so. So we must prepare them in a realistic manner to face challenges. The second thing I would like to enumerate upon is going to be this must be told to the students that it's normal for fleeting feelings of self-doubt to occur. All those people in that particular university are the best who have made it to the university. So you are going to be one among the equals. So it's normal to have fleeting feelings of self-doubt, and we must explain that a feeling is actually not an evidence or an indication of any reality. We must caution our children against the tendency to make comparisons as a way to try to feel more secure. We generally have this way of convincing ourselves or bargaining ourselves out of a situation by saying that so and so and so and so, comparing people. And so we must caution our children against this tendency. People aren't created equally, and we can all find ourselves deficient in some way. So it's perfectly okay not to be okay sometimes. The college and university stress is a given. It's the next stage of your life, but it can be managed. And this is what we have to teach them, to manage the stress which is going to happen by exercising, self-care, by eating well and healthy, by getting enough sleep, and by engaging in some kind of exercise or other stress relieving activity. These will definitely help the transition. Stress magnifies negative thinking, and a common pattern for students to be aware of this is the black and white or all or nothing thinking. In college setting, this might mean that when a grade or one's performance is disappointing or you fall short of the hoped for expectation, it is seen as a complete failure. As adults, it is the onus is on us that we remind our children that when they were little, they won't be able to do a lot of the tasks on their own. For instance, even tie up their shoelaces in the first attempt. They were helped to do it. So rather than to have kind of a feeling where you know all and you will be able to manage all, the child must enter the university with a mindset of growth to master the skills which the child does not know. So we must recognize and help the child recognize that there are degrees of success, and perseverance will almost always result in improvement. So a topper does not have to be a topper all through. It's great if it's a topper all through. But topper, when I say, I am talking not in terms of academic achievements, but I'm talking in terms of, life skills. There is lots to be learned at the university level. And with that open mind, the child must transit from the school to the open level. Parents, you may want to explain that grades are actually not a measure of self-worth or potential. If the children go with the pressure of performance and of getting those great grades, stress is bound to happen. This is really, really not a measure of self-worth. Some people are better test takers than others. The most important that we need to make these children who are transiting from school to college is that take care of the work ethics, the integrity, and the can-do attitude. If you work on these, success will happen to you. These are traits that are more predictive of success than the academic grades. Tell them, dear parents and teachers, that disappointments are inevitable and should not be viewed as an indication of a never-ending cycle or defeat. We must encourage our children to pay attention to self-talk or chatter for that matter, and to recognize that words like never and always are not helpful. Such words will cause anxiety and a sense of hopelessness. Thoughts influence feelings. So changing the thoughts can change the feelings. We must have positive thoughts and we must communicate positive thoughts to our surroundings. Limitations and disappointment, ladies and gentlemen, are not as the same as failures and flaws. And this must be explained to the children. Even the most accomplished person is not equally strong in all areas. You may have strengths in one area and you may be learning in the other area and developing that area as an area of development. Encourage your child to use him or herself as a yardstick in order to gauge improvement instead of comparing performances with others. I am a trainer for the International Award for Young People, also called the Duke of Edinburgh's Award. And one thing very beautiful about this award is it is self-competitive. Stress actually comes in when you start comparing yourself in terms of culture, in terms of traditions, in terms of your personal being, your presence with others. Why not just compete with your own self and better your own self? We must educate our child that avoidance is a strategy when feeling stressed and uncomfortable, and it is not helpful. So, not to avoid. It may bring temporary relief, but in the longer run, avoidance is definitely going to magnify the threat of whatever you're avoiding. So, when you choose to avoid a situation, you silently convince yourself that there is danger associated with it, and with that situation, you'll not be able to cope. So please teach them coping strategies. It is important for the child to understand that anxiety experienced is not from any real threat, like being held up at any kind of for any kind of situation, but it's just a feeling. Anxiety is a feeling, and feelings are transitory. They are not dangerous, and they will subside. Persevere and push through is what we need to teach our children. Now, the next thing that I would like to talk about is that discuss that doing something new may be scary for everyone, and even others may look unaffected on the other side, yet they may be feeling totally conflicted within themselves. It's just that they don't show up. Remember, others may be equally nervous as you when you approach something for the very first time. So don't jump to the conclusion that there is something wrong because other people appear to be happy, confident, and easily adjusting, and you don't seem to feel so. Don't jump to that. Some people can hide it, and some people can't. But everyone, for that matter, even the most experienced, when they do something new, they feel challenged and there will be anxiety. And it's okay to be anxious sometimes. Well, certain assertive lessons will be very, very helpful. For instance, taking living with the roommates as one example. Your child must learn the skill of expressing himself or herself, her feelings in a direct and a respectful way. The child is going to come across with diverse personalities from all across the country, all across the world, and when a roommate oversteps a boundary or disregards a feeling by inviting somebody else into the space, can become a little messy. For instance, teach the child that it is best to address the issue sooner rather than late, before any kind of resentment sets in with his fellow mates. Also explain, dear parents and teachers, that the approach of using I statements when expressing feelings instead of you statements, which can sound hostile. I feel anxious when the room is so untidy. Could you please make more of an effort to put the things away? Instead of saying, hello, what have you done to the room, my dear roommate? Look, it's all spread out. Everything is scattered out and it's so not looking nice. Instead of saying that this is how I feel, could you please do that? So the mutual respect for people, I'm sure every school would have developed in their students, but it is important and essential and has to be displayed in an assertive manner. Procrastination is a red flag which will bring more stress, social as well as emotional stress. I think we lost the connectivity. So I shall continue where I kind of left with with you people. I was just talking about procrastination. And I said procrastination is also a red flag. It is usually a sign of feeling overwhelmed and fearing failure. Procrastination also creates the self-fulfilling prophecy because if your child waits until the last minute to do his work, the product will likely be lacking. I think we should all stress upon the fact that a long journey always begins with small steps and to break it into small steps. Another thing I would like to add is that learning to problem solve is vital as a coping skill. We must teach the children to define the problem so that they are not vague and so that they can come up with the real solution to this. I always recommend that the child must think of a plan B also. Going to college is already an adjustment. It is easy to feel alone and being filled with self doubt. But kids don't need these feelings to be exacerbated by the social media. Encourage your son and daughter to limit social media sometimes because when people feel insecure, it is easy to withdraw and substitute virtual relationships for real ones. So instead of staying online, let the child go out and make friends. And this is what we have to actually stress upon. And one thing that really comes to my mind is it is important to convey to them that there is no shame in asking for any extra support in any stressful condition. The child may think that asking for help is a sign of weakness or means that there is something wrong, but that really is not true. We must emphasize that the child must seek help and that asking help is actually a sign of strength and a healthy coping strategy. There are so many ways by which a child can, do a successful transition from school to the university. One thing that comes to me and always stays with me is to help the children to laugh at themselves instead of feeling embarrassed and ashamed of difficulties and limitations. No one is perfect. We strive for excellence. Perfection is just a mirage. So, as I said, that none of us are perfect. And paradoxically, by accepting our quirks and shortcomings, we will be able to see ourselves as being perfectly adequate. I want to also add that there would definitely be a cultural change. The cultural values of one part of the country, within the country, as compared to other parts of the world are different. Values is something we value, right? And these definitely mm, uh, cannot be same 100% everywhere. We must let the children know that no one is completely right and nobody is completely wrong in their value system. It is their value system. There will be individual differences. We must respect individual differences. When there is mutual respect, respect for individual differences, acceptance and tolerance comes in, on its own and helps into the transition. So, dear parents and students, I'd like to conclude that change is a must. Change will happen. A child eventually has to move beyond high school. Like I said at the beginning, it is going to be shifting from being a big fish in a small pond to a small fish in a big pond. It's going to be intimidating, but those are the best years. That's where professional learning will actually happen. With all the skills that your teachers have taught you, with all the value systems that you have in you, with the understanding of right and wrong, with mutual respect, and with a outlook which is international, which has been fostered by the school over a period of time, take the leap. Take the big leap. For you are born to succeed, and nothing can stop you if you've made up your mind. Thank you. Thank you very much.